And once again, we are live. Welcome to another live movie review with Master Paul of the Star Wars Guys, and of course, as always, the Forces family. And the movie we're reviewing today, as you likely saw in the title, is The Terminator. I just saw it today for the first time, and I'll be honest, I'm still kind of processing what I think of this movie, because I guess the best way to say it is with what happened in this movie, I'm like shocked. And absolutely, this is another case. Hey, Matt Cave. Thanks for joining me. In fact, you're welcome to actually pop in the stream if you want to actually talk about this with me. I'll put the link in chat here. Mr. Eddie Gannon should be joining me also soon. So yeah, there's the link if you guys want to join chat to talk about this with me. But yeah, like I said, I'm still kind of processing, like, obviously it was a very well-made movie. And after thinking about it a little bit more, I dare say I liked it too. But as far as like how much I liked it and what parts of it I liked, that part I'm still sort of processing. So maybe by the end of the stream we'll have come to a more concrete answer. So I also, by the way, while I'm waiting on Matt Cave and anyone else to join, I did something a little bit different with watching this movie. So I took the advice of Coach from earlier, because I was on stream with him on Echo Base. Subscribe to them, by the way, if you haven't. And he gave me the idea of actually filming myself watching the movie and recording my reactions. So I decided to try that with this movie, and it was a little different, because usually when I watch a movie, I either watch it one of two ways. I either watch it as background noise while I'm doing something else, or if it's something I really want to focus on, I try my absolute best to focus on just that movie and nothing else. And so it was a little bit weird to both focus on the movie but also provide commentary, and I hope I did a good job with it. This may have been only a one-time thing. It may be something I do more often, me and Michael both. So honestly, who knows? All right, so I guess we'll go ahead and talk about the movie now. So oh, Matt Cave's here. What's up, man?
Hey, how are you?
Doing well. I was just enjoying the conversation you were having with Daryl and Arlena on their channel.
Yeah, oh man, that was a ton of fun talking with them. That's so cool. Darth Lane is great. That was the first time I got to really sit down and talk with her, so that was a really good time.
Yeah, she is great. And funny thing is, we're from the same state, so
hey, there you go.
So yeah, we've been trying to get together at some point. I just got to get with her and actually hash out the details on that. But anyways, cool. Oh, whoops. So yeah, I get to scratch another movie off the list today.
That's
The Terminator.
Awesome. Terminator.
Yes. So, like I was kind of rambling on a little bit about before you joined, I'm still kind of in shock with this movie as far as like what I was seeing. This is definitely another case of why did it take me so long to watch this movie? But at the same time, I'm still kind of processing what specifically about this movie I like. So I guess let's just jump right into it. So immediately when I first saw this, the biggest thing that jumped out to me is that there's a lot of similarities between this movie and The Matrix, which of course I recently saw that for the first time. This idea that in the distant future, it's basically mankind versus machines, because mankind has let the machines get too smart and too numerous to the point that the machines don't think that they need mankind anymore, and thus they start killing them.
Yeah.
But
And Matrix definitely has a lot of inspiration from films from the 80s and 90s, especially, and Terminator is certainly one of them.
yeah, in fact, the way they sort of designed the whole futuristic hellscape that is the future kind of reminded me of the Matrix and how they designed it, with using a lot of shades of gray, a lot of ruined stuff.
Yep.
The idea that the survivors of, we'll say, the robot apocalypse have to live in caves. So yeah, I can definitely see how they play off one another, and how the Matrix was inspired by movies like the Terminator.
Yeah.
But I dare say I kind of like the Terminator story as far as how they choose to fight this war with the robots just a little bit better than I do the Matrix one, because it's at least a little bit easier to understand the idea of sending someone back in time to protect the mother of who ultimately ends up being the symbol of their freedom fight from another assassin, or in this case, the Terminator, that's sent back to kill her.
Yep.
So story-wise, it's definitely more straightforward than The Matrix is, and I definitely like it for that. And then Arnold. This was like, I've only seen 2 Arnold movies so far, front to back, and that is Commando and this one. Actually, no, I take that back. I've seen 3, but we don't count Batman and Robin.
Oh my god! Everybody freeze!
Yes, I still see you.
Oh my god! Yeah, don't count that one.
Yeah. Anyways, though, of everything though that I have seen Arnold in, this is my favorite role of his by far, and it was like I would say this role was like tailor made for him. Just this absolutely unstoppable monster that is basically just there to look imposing and hunt down his target no matter what.
Yep.
And they did a great job of pulling that off too, with one exception. If it was not for this, I would have no problems with this performance. I did not like seeing the fake Arnold puppet that they used for all the eye
in the
stuff.
mirror. Yeah. I mean, that was all with Stan Winston's crew and everything at that time. And at the time, I mean, it was groundbreaking, you know, with that effect. But we've seen practical effects like that get a lot better. But yes, it is a little jarring because they're going back and forth from the puppet to Arnold.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a little weird to look at sometimes. Interesting behind the scenes fact about this film, because especially that you mentioned how it felt so tailor made for Arnold.
Yeah.
And his look. So an interesting fact about the movie: Arnold wasn't initially brought in to play the Terminator. He actually was brought in and auditioned for Kyle Reese. The actor Lance Henriksen, who's actually in the movie, he's one of the police officers in the place. And he's the one that kept telling the story to his chief or whatever. And he's like, "Oh, remember this time I got this bullet wound?" And he always interrupts him. Lance Henriksen was brought in.
Guy.
Yeah. He was in like Aliens and stuff like that. He was going to be the Terminator and have this, like, he could be a little more sneaky and stuff, like go in as just looking like a normal guy. And then when Arnold came in and auditioned for Kyle Reese, everything kind of changed, and James Cameron was like, yeah, Lance, yep, this guy. So he was going to be the Terminator. But then they reversed it. They're like, well, let's have the big guy be the Terminator. We'll have a normal looking guy be Kyle. I'm glad he was still in the movie, because I really like Lance Henriksen.
Yeah. And you can also kind of see you could also kind of see how they recycled that idea of having a guy that's more that fits in a little bit better into society and acts more natural than Arnold does
Mhm.
in the sequel, which,
Yep.
spoiler alert, that one's tomorrow.
Ooh, yeah. T2, man. So good.
But yeah. But yeah, I could definitely see the other guy, Henriksen, possibly working in that role. Like if Arnold was never even auditioned for the movie, maybe. But like I said, the fact that they went with Arnold clearly was a change for the better.
Yeah.
And of course, it was just awesome just seeing him walk through, just mowing down people with guns. And I liked how they even made it to where like the character knew that guns could not hurt him. So while everyone else around him is ducking for cover to return fire, he's just standing there in the open tanking the bullets because like this does nothing to me.
Now let me ask you this. Going into it, did you know he was the villain?
I had heard somewhere about it once before, but it was a long time ago and I can't remember where.
Okay. The reason I ask is that when we saw this years ago for the first time, and you could see it in the setup until they get to the Tech Noir bar where everything starts to go nuts. Until that moment, it's kind of back and forth of like, who is the bad guy here? Because you got like Kyle kind of stalking and being creepy.
Right.
And then you got Arnold doing his thing and everything. So you kind of assume Arnold's the villain, but they play with it a bit. And
yeah.
It's funny that you just watched this particular movie because I just rewatched it recently with my son, and he watched it for the first time, and he didn't know who the bad guy was. So he was just in anticipation of like, what's going to happen? Who's the villain? He didn't know Arnold was the bad guy because he only knows Arnold as good guys.
Exactly. And it's weird that you mentioned that because I found myself, I knew that Arnold was the bad guy, but in a weird way, I kind of found myself rooting for him a little bit.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, the emotionless, soulless robot is the most interesting character in this movie.
Yeah.
Not to say that the other characters are bad. They're just, Arnold's the most interesting one. And really quick, shout out to Darth Arlena, says just popping in to say hi, and I'm so glad you watched it. Got a H. Gotta get ready for work tomorrow.
Well,
thank you for popping in here, Darth Arlena. I greatly appreciate it.
Good to see you again.
Yes. But yeah, so moving aside from Arnold for a minute, the other characters that I liked, I definitely liked Sarah. I thought the actress that played her did an amazing job with that. Same with Reese. And I'll tell you, I did not see it coming that Reese ends up being John Connor's daddy. By the way that Reese talks about John Connor up until that moment. Like, I thought he was just a random guy that volunteered to come back in time, but then it's like, you see them do the married people stuff and you realize, oh, wait a minute. So everything lines up because Reese says that his dad died that John Connor's dad died just before the war. And that ends up turning out to be true with Reese as his dad.
Yep.
And I think it's cool, but at the same time, I'm wondering, does this like create some sort of time paradox in the story, or does it still line up?
It still lines up. Some of the more recent sequels tried to kind of dive into that a little more, but they kind of hit the mark. In all honesty, if you stick to just T1 and T2, you're pretty much set.
Okay.
T3 goes into a let's add comedy into the movie realm, which is weird.
I believe it.
Salvation is okay, the one with Christian Bale, and he plays John Connor. And I forget the actor's name, but he plays a young Kyle Reese. So we see the future. not to the point where you see it in those scenes from Terminator 1, but like a little before that. So we're seeing the build up to that. And that movie got a lot of hate over time, but I personally don't mind it so much. I think they do a pretty good job.
Hey, Daryl.
Hey, Daryl's here.
Hey, man. Hey, Daryl, if you want, you can join in this conversation. The StreamYard link is here in chat. Because I'd love to get your take on all this, too. So
Anton, yes.
Okay.
Which, oh, man, so sad. He passed away not that long ago in a tragic accident. Yeah, he's a young kid, too, and he passed. Really awful.
Sorry to hear
he was
that.
so talented. He played in the Star Trek remakes. He played Chekhov, and this kid was like, he was so amazing with accents and changing his voice that he's different in every film he was in, and he does a really good Kyle Reese. So it fit really well. But Salvation is worth watching, at least once. And then you have Genesis, which it's weird. Genesis is
I know Arnold comes back in that one.
He does, and it's a sort of interesting story, but sort of breaks it. So Genesis makes a split in the timeline. So if you were to look at these films, Terminator 1 and 2 is
What's
like
up, Daryl?
one timeline. Hey, Daryl. Good to see you again.
By the way,
didn't I just see you?
I don't familiar.
Great screen you were having, by the way, with Matt Cave and Arlena.
Thank you.
Talking about the vintage video games and such.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we love talking that stuff, man. And there's some good Terminator games, by the way.
Yeah.
So there's some stuff to check out.
I very vaguely remember at the tail end of my time in Navy boot camp, there was like twice I got to hang out in this little arcade area on base. This was right after I completed my final test. So we were on our way to graduation. And so they let us go to this area as like a little reward. And they had a Terminator Salvation arcade little shooter game. And it was, pretty fun, where you just mow down all the Terminators in their non-skinned form.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they had one for Terminator 2 like that also back in the day with the guns and everything set up. Oh my god, I played the hell out of that one. That was so
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And speaking of the non-skin Terminators, as much as I didn't like the, them using that fake Arnold puppet for all the eye stuff, I thought the stuff that they did with, the Terminator in its just machine form, I thought that was great.
Yeah, the stop motion work, it made him so creepy too, because you get that that jittery movement with the stop motion, but it works so well for that character.
If you ever watched any of the Sinbad movies from the 70s, they did the exact same stop motion work with the skeleton.
Jason and the Argonauts. Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Oh, so good. So good.
So good.
Oh, that's you know what? I wonder if this is on your list. Clash of the Titans.
1981.
It is not.
Ooh, we got to add that one.
Okay. I'll pull up the list here in a minute. Scratch Terminator off and add that to it.
Release the Kraken.
Release the Kraken. Yeah.
It's like I said. Every time I take a movie off this list, two more pop up in its place.
Telling you, man, it's a Hydra list. Cut off one head, two more grow.
Come back. Yep. That's another one too. Percy Jackson.
That's a good series.
I've seen the first one.
Yeah.
Seen the first one and didn't really like it enough to see the second.
But what they go into in Percy Jackson is inspired by things like Clash of the Titans with the Greek mythology and everything like that. But, reason it came to mind was because we're talking stop motion. And you got, the great Harryhausen doing all the stop motion with the creatures, the Kraken and Medusa. Medusa.
Oh my gosh, Medusa
scared the heck out of me when I was a kid. That was terrifying. But
hold on a second. Medusa, because I'm starting to remember. I remember seeing the Medusa thing a long, long, long time ago when I was really little. My dad was watching it. And that was Medusa was another thing that they did stop motion too.
Yep.
And they basically, it was the scene I remember where Perseus cuts off Medusa's head. I remember seeing that. I just haven't seen the whole movie.
Yeah, the lead up to that, because they had a few, like she's in the shadows, and then
so
dude.
tense.
Yeah,
so tense.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
And then Charon, the ferryman.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Charon.
Yeah.
I didn't like the way they did him in the remake.
Yeah, the remake was okay. It wasn't terrible, but
there were parts of it that I liked, but the Charon being the actual ship that ferried them across the river Styx, that I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Like, make it the old one where he's like in the actual death robe.
Yeah, it's got to be the ferryman. Give him the coin.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, I'll add that into the list.
Yeah.
So let's see. What's something else we could talk about with the Terminator? So yeah, Daryl, you came in a little bit after we talked about Arnold's performance. So what's your take on how Arnold did?
I think Arnold, he did the best he could for what he had, but I can't imagine a Terminator movie without him.
I would 100% agree. In fact, I was telling Matt just before you popped in, it seemed like this role was tailor-made for him, and yet I find out just now he basically wasn't plan A. It was the other guy that played the police officer.
Lance Henriksen. He was going to be the Terminator. And then it all, you know what, there's a great I think it's on like one of the DVD editions of Terminator 1, or maybe even T2, but there's a bonus feature of it might be on there. There's a bonus feature on one of the editions where Arnold and James Cameron sit down, like fairly recent, whatever. They talk about memories of making the film, and they actually start talking about his audition and things like that.
So yeah, I'll look at the bonus features of this and see if I can find that.
Yeah, but overall, I mean, I'm really glad that you liked the film. It's definitely dated at this point, but
yes,
the reason I think it stands the test of time is because it's technically a period piece where it's like, this is meant to take place in 1984. This is where we are, and this is where the future, like it's set in a certain way that no matter when you watch this film, it just makes sense. I mean, even though the beginning of the film literally does mention, and then it's present day, so it's like, well, right. Yeah, it was for that brief moment.
Yeah.
But, and then when you see Terminator 2, it really takes it to the next level.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Terminator 2 after this, because even though I've never seen Terminator 2, I have seen Patrick Stewart in other things. Like, for example, you guys remember the TV show The Unit?
Yeah. Yeah, the guy that plays the T-1000. Not Patrick Stewart.
Robert Patrick.
Robert Patrick.
Robert Patrick. Yeah, Patrick Stewart is Picard. Yeah. I don't know how I got that mixed up.
Now that would have been interesting. Picard as the T-1000.
Oh,
yeah.
But it'll have like the Borg eye on.
Yeah,
it's so fun.
Yeah, Robert Patrick is fantastic in that role, and it's interesting that they did it, because then they kind of take the route that they were going to do with the first film of have someone that just looks like a normal guy doing this, so they can, and wait until you see his performance. I don't want to say what he does, but it's just, I don't want to spoil it, but he's the most interesting character in the film. Like,
for lack of a better term, he's a machine.
He's a machine. Yeah.
Yes.
I believe it 100%.
Really good.
I'm not sure which version of the film you have for T2.
I actually don't, so I'm going to be finding a way to stream it.
Find the extended edition.
Yes.
Extended edition.
Yes.
Okay.
There are scenes that I swear it's a sin that they deleted them, but they're back in the extended edition.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm like, who decided to cut? Like, it's moments that are like so important, and I can't believe I don't watch the theatrical version anymore. I always watch the extended edition.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely hunt it down. Heck, I may go find Walmart and find a hard copy of it, like what I have with the first one.
Yeah. You could probably find it in one of like the bargain bins or something and get it for like $4.
Right.
Right.
All right, so one last thing I want to do before we get off here, guys, and this is something I just came up the idea with. But not only do I want to review these movies, but I want to rank them. So I have started a new Word document, and I'm going to make an official ranking of these movies, the ones that I like to the ones that I like the least. And here's what that's going to look like. So at the top of the list, and this is individual movies, they're going to be broken up from whatever trilogy that they're in. So I would say for right now, at the top of the list is Jaws.
Nice. Oh, yeah.
Because I think that one is just, I would say it's the best well-made and the best well-told movie out of all of them. I literally have nothing bad to say about that movie. Even jokingly, when I'm like, why did they kill Quinn? Again, as I've said, it just goes to show just how good that movie was, that I care about that character dying. So Jaws is at the top so far.
Yeah, Quinn was my favorite. See, you brought your rubbers.
Next, I would say is this one, Terminator.
Nice.
And then after that is Commando.
Stick around.
And then next after that is Matrix Revolutions. And then Matrix, and then Matrix Reloaded.
Wow. So you like the third one more than the first one, huh?
Yes, because story-wise to me, it was the easiest to understand.
Okay. I gotcha.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I really, really liked the Neo versus Smith fight at the very end where they're going full Super Saiyan mode.
Yeah, that was sick.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, that is my official ranking so far. Save that. And let me bring
need a bigger
up
list.
Yes, speaking of lists, let me bring up the other one. So we can do the ceremonial erasing from the list.
Nice. Oh, I'm glad we could be
All
here
right,
for this.
so Terminator gone.
Look at that.
And we'll scroll down here and add Clash of the Titans.
Clash of the Titans, the original.
80 or 81. I think.
80 or 81.
I think it's 81.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember when it was going to come on HBO, and it was going to debut at like 7:30 on a Sunday morning. For some reason, they did it like that back then.
Yeah.
Me and my buddy, who actually supposed to run the vac tube with me, we stayed up all night and watched it at 7:30 in the morning, and we're just sitting there like this.
Yeah.
Because it was so cool.
It
was just so, for lack of a better term, is badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, and ultimately that's what I thought of this movie. And I guess sort of the last thing that I'll say, I mentioned this at the beginning, but I'll say it again at the end. If you guys were watching the Echo Base stream earlier today, I was on there with Coach, and he gave me a little bit of advice saying, why don't you film yourself watching this movie, and so that we can see your reactions as the movie is happening. So I took his advice, and I filmed myself watching it. In fact, it's downloading right now off StreamYard.
Oh, nice.
It's the full hour and 45 minutes uncut. I just hope it's interesting enough for you guys to watch.
You know what's fun with stuff like that is because you know your audience can go pop on the movie, right, and watch it with you. You know, it's like
like a watch party.
Yeah, like a watch party. That's how the watch parties. That's how like Star Wars Theories handles his watch parties. And I have always loved, like, when he was running through the prequels and stuff like that, I grabbed my copy and I was like, all right, let's pop it on. And I just kind of synced it up with him.
Yeah. So as far as actually doing the reactions go, it was definitely something that I had to put effort into doing, like actually say something instead of just sitting there. Because like I said, usually if I'm watching a movie, I watch it one of two ways. Either I'm hyper focused with what's going on, or I have it on as background noise while I'm doing something else. So having to intentionally give commentary was something that I had to get used to. And if I do this again, it probably won't be a pre-recorded video. It'll be a live stream or on the Discord. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But anyways, that's all that I can think of to talk about with this movie. You guys got anything else?
Well, I will say that when you watch Terminator 2, Terminator 2 makes you appreciate Terminator 1 more.
Okay.
There's a lot of people who, in all honesty, have never seen the first Terminator, but have watched Terminator 2 1,000 times. But I've always been such a fan of the original. I love the first Terminator. But you'll see what I'm talking about. You're gonna get, there's certain beats in T2 where you're like, I'm so glad I watched part 1. Like, it just, especially the extended. That's what I was saying. The extended edition of T2 is so important in that case.
Hey, Mega Metalorian, how you doing, man?
Lurking while gaming.
Yeah. Well, I hope whatever you're playing, you're winning.
Winning.
So yeah, Daryl, anything else?
Yeah, I just agree with Matt. It's when you watch T2, you'll appreciate 1 more, and a lot of the stuff that T2 refers to is like, if you didn't watch 1, you'd be like, okay, what are they talking about? So you're in the loop, pretty much.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to the Skynet stuff.
Oh yeah. Gotcha. Because I know they mentioned it in this movie, but didn't really go into it at all. They just established it as a thing.
That reminds me. You still got your DVD right there?
Yeah.
Does the back say it has deleted scenes?
No, it doesn't. It just gives the little synopsis of the movie right here, and then the credits. It doesn't say anything about any bonus features. I'm sure you can they're there.
Yeah, I bet if it's not on the disc, I guarantee you can find this on YouTube. Because it just reminded me of this. Find just one deleted scene, the alternate ending for Terminator 1. It's not really so much an alternate ending, it's an extended ending. Check that out before you watch T2.
Yeah.
Tell you what, let's do a live reaction to it.
Well, if you can find it, go for it, because let's
watch it right now.
It's one of those moments where it's like, you guys were already thinking about this before T2 happened. It was like, oh, cool. But it's specifically the ending, the factory that she's in.
Yeah.
And specifically what factory she's in.
Trying to find it.
You got to give it up to James Cameron, because he probably thought ahead for that.
You ever hear the story of how he came up with the idea for Terminator?
I do, but I forgot. It's really interesting, though. I do remember that much.
He got really sick. He was very ill and had these crazy fever dreams. And the dreams he was having was Terminator. And he started, he paints, he was drawing, he was writing down the things that he saw in his dreams, and it became Terminator.
Had the visions in like a delirium.
Yeah.
All right, I think I found it.
Fallout 76 season grand. Nice.
Nice.
So is this it? The Terminator alternate ending, Kyle Reese lives?
No, not that. I don't know what that would be.
Never seen that one.
Yeah, I don't know if he lives, it kind of breaks the movie.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so this sounds like an interview. Okay.
Yeah, that might be an interview thing. Or maybe extended ending or something like that, but it's definitely a... Let's see, I'm going to see if I can find it also. Extended ending. No, not that one. Oh, there's some spoilers all up in here. There is a video I just found that's all the deleted scenes, which it should be the last one they show. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Go ahead and.
Let
Oh,
me
hey,
throw
my friend Ian's here. What's up, man?
I'm going to throw the link in the chat here.
Okay.
Come back to the.
I hear dogs in the background.
That's mine.
Okay.
It's
They
time to
smell
let
a
'em out.
Terminator.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, they're about to drop a Terminator.
Yeah.
Well, if you need to let them out, man, do what you got to do.
Oh, it takes me a while. I got 12 dogs.
Oh, I probably could have
Oh,
put that in
fun.
the private chat. I just threw it in the. Let me throw it in the private chat too, so you can actually get to it.
Can't wait to hear it, man.
Here we go.
All right, private
So,
chat.
And I'll tell you, I'm going to load it up again on my end here, and I'll tell you where to go.
Okay.
It's going to be. Go to 9 minutes in.
9 minutes
maybe
in.
They're making out at that point, but then it's like 9:05 is where it starts. Yeah, right there.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't
I guess you have the audio.
hear audio. Yep.
It happens.
Still learning this StreamYard stuff. All right, here we go.
Yep. But to set the scene, it's right after the end fight.
I don't want you to touch anything until we're done. You got that?
Can y'all hear anything?
Sure, officer.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's that? Microcomputer chassis. But I never saw stuff like that anywhere. Weird. Jap stuff, maybe. Get us down to R&D first thing Monday morning, huh? Good idea.
Ooh.
Cyberdyne Systems. So that's I'm surprised that they didn't put that back in the movie at some point, because maybe at the time it didn't mean too much to them.
It makes so much perfect sense.
Mm-hmm. But they find the microprocessor, and there's still other things they find also. And now knowing that, going to T2.
Okay. So yeah, definitely I'll be looking for that when I watch the movie tomorrow.
Nice.
Well, guys, so thanks again for hopping on here with me.
Yeah, thanks for having.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man.
No problem. You guys are invited back tomorrow when I watch T2. So I'll get in touch with you guys somehow. You guys are on Discord, right? Both of you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll find you on Discord and we'll message about doing this again tomorrow. Maybe we'll have some other people on here. So anyways, again, though, thanks for being here. And for you guys watching, thank you. Make sure to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, the Force is family. Thank you very much.
Like.